Part of our ploy to draw people to a State of the University address is to have an event celebrating the rededication of the Guerry Center. And I want to return to my earlier comments about the Guerry family and the State of the University address. The University of Chattanooga Student, Faculty, Alumni Center was dedicated in the fall of 1958, and 3 years later, it was named the Guerry Center in memory of the University of Chattanooga's 7th president, Alexander Guerry. He served as president from 1929 to 1938. We're here today to rededicate this newly renovated Guerry Center. It's approximately an $8 million project which was funded with capital renovation funds provided by the state of Tennessee, the General Assembly, and Governor. And thank you to members of our local delegation for making sure that UTC is included in the funding for these events, these buildings. When Alexander Guerry served as president of the institution, his focus was on true learning and sound scholarship so that the university would be an institution of merit and excellence. Dr. Edward Lindsay, an English professor from 1924 to 1968, had this to say about President Guerry, quote, "He really made the university. More than anybody else, he encouraged the idea of excellence," end quote. As the home to our Honors College, the Guerry Center is a shining star of excellence that brings the best and brightest to UTC, encourages scholarship across the entire campus, and is a coming together point for scholarly pursuits. How fitting that the newly renovated Guerry Center is home to our UTC Honors College. President Guerry's sons, their children, grandchildren have carried forward the commitment of excellence. Through their ongoing support and encouragement, the institution has continued to flourish. I had hoped that John Guerry, one of Alexander Guerry's sons, was going to be here today. I don't know if he came in late or not. He's been a valued friend, and his grandson, Zan Guerry, is here today with us, and will make some remarks in a few minutes. But I'd like the Guerry family to stand. I know Alexis Bogo is here too. Thank you. The connection of the Guerry name to today's rededication is further strengthened by the fact that the major gift that allowed us to launch the UTC Honors College in 2013 that gift was made by members of the Guerry family. Zan Guerry and his family and Hamako Foundation helped us get to where we are today, make the case for this renovation, and provide this outstanding facility that is going to take our Honors College to even greater heights. And I'd like to invite Dr. Linda Frost, Dean of the Honors College, to the podium to share some thoughts on the importance of this physical structure, the Guerry Center, to building an outstanding Honors College and to our campus. And then she will introduce Mr. Zan Guerry.
Hi, I'm Linda Frost, and I'm thankful for all of you coming today. It's been a long time in the making. It was, in fact, September of the first year that I was here, and when the Chancellor was here in 2013, when Provost Gerald Ainsworth told me that the whole building would be a dedicated honor space. I am very grateful to him for that, and I'm very excited to be here. And if you haven't seen me these last couple of weeks, you don't know how excited I've been, because I've been just the whirlwind all over the place. There are so many things I could tell you about the Guerry Center and the Honors College at UTC. I could tell you, for instance, that this room, that was once the University of Chattanooga Student Center, is today called by most of campus the Flag Room. How many people know this room as the Flag Room? Yeah. And that's because at one time it held flags from all the southern states. Later, it held flags from all the countries that were visited by UTC honor students. In the Honors College, we refer to this room simply as the reading room. If students aren't calling it Hogwarts, they like to do that too. And we expect that this will be the nomenclature that survives the next 54 years as we're doing something different with the flags. They've not gone away, but we are doing something different with them. I also want to reassure you, if you're concerned about the stained glass, that's coming back too, don't worry. It's a kind of a more time-consuming process to refurbish that glass and to hang it back up, but it is coming back. And of course, if anyone here would like their name on this room, just catch me after the ribbon cutting. I could tell you about all the amazing people who have, over the years, supported UTC Honors. People like the Guerry family and the Hemico Foundation, the Brock family, the Probasco family, the Guthries, the Forlitises, the Oldhams, the Aubairs, the Burtons, the Somperacks, the Kennedys, the Donovans, the Bells, the Clevelands, the Townsends, and many more. All people who have found worth in supporting our efforts to create the best honors entity, not just in the Southeast, but really in the nation. I really believe that. All of our donors will have short films on the monitor you see in the reception area when you first come in that will explain what their gift meant to them and to the university. So if a student gets the Aubert Scholarship, and we've got Fred's interview running right now, they'll understand who Fred's mother was and a little bit more about that gift, so it's more meaningful. So that's what we have running right now. In front is a filmed interview with donor and Chancellor Emeritus Dr. Fred Aubert. Of course, there are legendary leaders of honors at UTC that more than deserve mention. Peter Consacro, Bob Fulton, Gavin Townsend, Greg O'Day, Joni Somperack, June McEwen, Debbie Bell, Melissa Birchfield. And those of us who are working in the Honors College now, and if my people will just wave their hands, Greg O'Day, Debbie Bell, Sharice Williams, Leslie Pusey, Rebecca Caldwell, Owen Foster, Jada Coons, Justin Colvin, our graduate assistants, and our student assistant directors. We've grown. It's pretty exciting. I could tell you stories of our students, Rhodes Scholars, Fulbright teaching assistants, the first of which, is she there? Where's Simone? Honey, I'm sorry, I told you I was going to do it. Simone Edwards, who's our first in 50 years, we think, Fulbright, student Fulbright recipient, and she's She had a little downtime before going to Guatemala, so I asked her to come play piano for us, and she agreed to. But there are students here, so if you're a student at the UTC Honors College right now, let's give us a loud go Mocs, will you? A loud go Mocs, guys. There we go. But here's what I want to tell you about most of all. Honors started at UTC in 1977 with 20 students in a small chunk of this building, in this space and the two spaces behind here. That were more spaces than that, but now they're two. In 1979, the Lyndhurst Foundation started a scholarship endowment that eventually became the endowment that honors William E. Brock Jr., who's pictured out in the lobby. That endowment today supports 200 Brock Scholars in their studies at UTC. Called first the University Honors Program, then Brock Scholars, and now the Honors College, which includes the Brock Scholars Program, as well as newer programs like the Innovations and Honors Program. The UTC Honors College today enrolls almost 350 students. We're not quite done, but that's where we are right now. When we began the design for the renovation of the Guerry Center, we wanted it to highlight both our history and our future, our traditions and our innovations. And I am so excited that this design does exactly that, at least in my eyes. I want to thank Heidi Hefferlin and her colleagues at Hefferlin and Cronenberg, Gabe, who's not here anymore, but Chris, and Jen and Wilson. I want to thank all of them. And where's Heidi? Heidi, where's Heidi at? Right there, Heidi Hefferlin. She was the architect. She was wonderful and led us through a really beautiful design process for this building. We took inspiration from other campus spaces on campus, Teresa Licka's library in particular, and places in Chattanooga like the Edney Center, Lamp Post, even the atrium space of the Mountain City Club. We looked at all of these to get a sense of what we should do in this space. I hope that you'll see that blend when you walk through the building, as well as keep in mind that it's a little bit unfinished still. There are a couple little things we have to finish, as our work in honors always is. To that end, I also want to thank all the people who came together these last few weeks to make today possible. In particular, Mike Andrews, Jacob Cagle, Terry Deniston, Laura Cagle, the rest of the Chancellor Party crew, as I call them, Stephen Rumbaugh, Valisa Griffin, Brian Rowland, Nancy Mullins, James Spruill, Ray Saldano, Chelsea Ewing, Tom Ellis, Richard Brown, and Danny West, who I have on speed dial. With the new Guerry Center, the Honors College becomes a literal open door for students who have more initiative than they know what to do with, for faculty who want to try out something new in the classroom, and for anyone who is drawn to spending some time in this truly inspiring space. The Guerry Center and the Reading Room will be open during the day for anyone in the university and the Chattanooga community to enjoy it. So please come and hang with us. The Honors College serves all majors, and we are truly the university's interdisciplinary college. We are so very proud to be the stewards of this transformed and transformational space. When you go around the building after we officially cut the ribbon to open it, I hope you'll look in all the rooms that are open. We have students throughout the building who can tell you about what happens in those rooms, how hard the classes are, if they can whine a little bit to you. And they can also just tell you about honors, what we do in the Honors College. They're wonderful, and I'm glad they're here. Also, make sure you pick up copies. Would you grab one of those, Valisa? These. We have copies of the issue of the Echo from 1965 when the building was first dedicated. The front and the back issue that shows, or front and back page that show the story about that dedication, as well as copies from the Moccasin, so you can see what it was like at that point. And also, Guerry Center coasters are all around the building. Yes. Very excited about that. So while honors wasn't always the Guerry Center's primary purpose, it is the only home that honors at UTC has ever known. And it is very, very fitting that the primary gift from the Hamiko Foundation, and in particular Mr. Zan Guerry, comes from the same family that has housed honors all these years. I know I wouldn't be here if it weren't for him and the other members of the Hamiko Foundation who provided the $1 million founding gift that made the Honors College a reality. That gift was an act of vision and a leap of faith, and I'm glad you took it. Some of you are sitting on that gift right now. If you're on those pretty blue chairs, you're on some of that gift. Zan is a name known in Chattanooga for so many things. Brilliant business at Chatham, exemplary athletic skill at tennis, powerful civic support, godfather of the Baylor School, dare I say. To me, he has been a mentor, a supporter, and a friend. And I am very, very happy now to introduce to you the grandson of the man for whom this center is named, Mr. Zan Guerry.
Godfather of Baylor, I'll have to tell them that. Some might agree. Anyway, my grandfather died right before I was born, a few months, so I never knew him. Through my father and my uncle, I heard of him and I've read things that he wrote, but I think a commitment to excellence would be spot on when you do him, and it would be spot on for my uncle, who I'm sorry couldn't be here. But on behalf of Uncle John, my daughter Alexis Bogo, my wife Julie, and myself, thank you to Chancellor Angle, Linda Frost, thank you to the university, and all the other people who made the gift possible. I think it was maybe the best investment the state's ever made in terms of the power that the Honors College can bring to the university. So I thank you for that. Congratulate Chancellor Angle not only on this building, but his 7 years here. It's momentum. I mean, that's what you want in a leader. You want momentum, and he's delivered that. I don't have to repeat all the things that he's accomplished, but in addition to this, Linda Frost really had to take a entrepreneurial thing, start with a few students. Now we're up to 300, but I've had the opportunity to get to know her and work with her passion and see how much she has, fought to get this thing to where we are now. And I know she has great ambition, so congratulations to her. Congratulations to Randy Boyd. We've known each other in the education field for a long time, and I told him that I really wanted to be governor, but now that he's here, I'd much prefer him be here with us, working. And kind of the UT promise was something that we had various discussions about a long time ago. And perhaps the most, in some case, underappreciated, not underappreciated, Bill Stacy we probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Bill Stacy and his, he was my teammate in so many ways. And so he really encouraged the Hamako and encouraged me to get involved in this. And so thank you. I know he's here. So thank you. There he is right there. Normally on an occasion like this, I'd be nervous about what words can, capture such an amazing event. But I'm actually not the slightest bit nervous about that because I'm not going to give you any words from me, but I'm going to give you some words from my grandfather, which I think are appropriate for the occasion. I think they'll give you a little insight into who he was and why people see his uniqueness. And I think they will kind of inspire all of us today. The first would be speaking directly. This was a letter he wrote, and they would speak directly to our president and chancellor, but to their whole teams. He writes, "The first essential of greatness in a university or in any agency of man is a belief in its continuing, never-ending existence, a conception of its own earthly immortality." Earthly immortality. A university must have faith that is created to service mankind, to seek the truth, to hold tight the light of learning, to preserve justice, freedom, democracy, and order, not for some brief span of history, but forever. A university must feel that it is founded to teach and guide, enlighten and inspire the youth of the land, not for a generation or two, but for generations upon generations in never-ending succession. So that was a letter that he wrote, titled that. The next piece speaks kind of to his devotion to education, but in particular, he wrote eloquently about libraries and books. And so this was at the dedication of a library, which I think is appropriate for the Honors College to do. A book means education and, above all, self-education, learning through one's own effort. A book is therefore opportunity. It represents also equality of opportunity, the chance of a man or a woman or a boy or girl to lay hold on knowledge and out of their own desire, their desire for the development of their abilities and talents. There is no barrier to this privilege in our nation or in any democracy once a person can read and have the use of books. For me, a library is a symbol of freedom because books are symbols of freedom. Freedom is in part rooted in knowledge. Ignorance destroys freedom. A people can be free, ought to be free if they have books. Books reveal the past, interpret the present, point out the future. A library and its books can help people find wisdom and insight into which is right and just and good. Finally, a library and its books give happiness, happiness without discrimination except for the unlettered, the happiness that springs from knowledge, from association with great minds, great ideas, and great ideals. The happiness that comes from growth through time, well spent in the company of worthwhile friends. And then to close, which I think was a pretty good close actually, my grandfather had a tendency or a habit of writing to world leaders. Might not write to as many today as he would have in the past, but he used to write to a lot of world leaders, and I don't know how many responses he got, but I have actually the original one that is dated December 17th, 1931. And the letter says, "Dear friend, I thank you for your letter of last December. The only thing I can think of to the fresh entrants is that they should put character before literary knowledge. Yours sincerely, Mahatma Gandhi." So that's pretty cool. And one of the reasons that our foundation, and we work with a lot of other great institutions, in Chattanooga, but one of the reasons that we work with UTC and have worked for so long is, the character of the individuals. Fred O'Bear worked with a lot, Bill Stacy, and now Chancellor Angle, and the character of all people at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. I think character is a symbol that the university presents very well. As Bill Curry would say, you've made my day. Thank you.